Hi everyone, it's Mandy. Thanks so much for joining me for another process video. Today I'm creating a layout for the Charms Creations creative team. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I've really been enjoying adding some mixed media to my scrapbook layouts. And I'm still very much just learning and experimenting with different mediums at the moment. I've particularly been playing a lot with the dilutions, paints and inks, and I'm really having a lot of fun getting a bit messy and experimenting with mixed media, and I'm really enjoying the process and learning lots along the way as well. So I'm using the dilutions paints on this page, and the colours that I'm using are vibrant turquoise, squeezed orange, and I'll also be adding some slate grey. And I'm just experimenting with different ways of applying the paint. So to start with, I used a palette knife. Then you saw just there, I tried applying it with an old store card. And I'm also going to try using my finger to rub it on. I just wanted to see the different looks that I could get by using those different methods of applying it. And so I used my heat gun to dry each colour of paint before I moved on to the next colour, and that's mainly because I'm using both warm and cool colours together. So I was a little bit impatient and didn't completely dry the turquoise, and some of it did go into the orange there in the top right hand corner, but that was fine because I'm going to cover it up with the grey anyway. But I wanted to make sure that the colours didn't blend together. Because I'm using both warm and cool colours, they would make a muddy brown colour if they mixed together. So that was why I used my heat gun in between the colours. If I was using just warm or just cool colours, I probably wouldn't have worried so much about it because they would blend together nicely. So I'm just going to keep adding more paint until I feel like I have enough on the page. And in the end, I don't know, I like it, but I'm not sure if maybe I did add a bit too much. Or maybe it's just that it's a lot busier and louder than I would usually have for a background. But I think it's growing on me, and I had fun in the process, and that's a big part of why I do this. Of course, I create for the memory keeping aspect of it, but I also create because it gives me that outlet and I enjoy the process. And I did have a lot of fun with this page. So now I'm going to add some texture paste using a stencil, and that one is a Dusty Attic stencil. And this is just going to add a little bit more interest to the background, and I think the white of the texture paste will just help to lift those colours and lighten it up a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to add some stamping to my background, and I'm using a couple of Kaisercraft stamps, and I'm going to add these in 3 places on the page to create a visual triangle. And the black ink will provide a nice contrast against the bright colours on the layout. And then the last thing that I'm going to do on the background is just add some ink splatters. And I'm using the same coloured inks that I've used in the paints, so the squeezed orange and the vibrant turquoise. Okay, so now I'm ready to bring in my photo and patterned papers. So the photo that I'm documenting today is one of my son and I, taken recently during the last school holidays when we took the kids to a playground for a play. And I love it. It's just a relaxed, happy photo, and I love documenting the relationship between him and I, because he's my only son, which I think is kind of special. And I love that he's always happy to come and have a photo with me. He's such a good kid, and I'm going to make the most of it before it becomes embarrassing to have photos with his mum. And so the patterned papers and embellishments that I'm using on this page are from the Cocoa Vanilla You Rock collection. And the colours in this collection are really going to work perfectly with the colours that I used on my background. So I pulled out some scraps of patterned paper that I had left over from using them on previous layouts, and I just want to build some layers behind my photo. And so I'm just putting them on the page and then roughly marking with a pencil where I want to trim them down. And because I already have so much colour on my background, I mainly chose patterned papers in neutral colours. So I chose ones that were mainly grey or black or white, although I did map my photo with a turquoise coloured paper just to help it to pop off the page nicely. So I've pulled out a few of my Charms Creations embellishments that I think will work well on this page, and initially I was thinking of using that turquoise chevron, but I do end up swapping it for the grey one, just because once again I've got so much colour on the background and I just didn't want it to be too much, and I think the dark grey just contrasts nicely with those bright colours. So now that I've got these layers how I want them to look behind the photo, I want to stick them down because I know that they'll annoy me if they keep moving around while I'm working on the layout. So I'm just sticking those layers together, just so then I can move them around together as one piece. So I pulled out the chipboard stickers from the You Rock collection because I was looking for a frame to tuck in behind the photo, and I knew that there were some chipboard ones on this sheet. So this is going to add some dimension to those layers, and then I'm also going to add some foam tape behind the photo as well, just to lift it up so that it sits nicely over the top of that frame. Okay, so I've decided now that I want to match the layout with a patterned paper. So I'm just trimming the cardstock down a little bit, and I chose that black patterned paper with the stars on it because I think that dark paper will just frame the page nicely, and it will help to ground all of the bright colours. And I'm just gutting the middle out of the paper because I don't want to waste it, and I know that I'll use that piece on another layout. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm using the Basil Marshmallow cardstock for my mixed media backgrounds. It's nice and thick and it takes the wet mediums really well, and I haven't needed to prime the page with gesso first. So if you're looking for a good cardstock to do mixed media on, I would recommend using the Basil Marshmallow cardstock. So I'm going to use one of the wood veneer pieces from the U-Rock collection for the title for my layout. And I want to colour this to make it black because once again the black is going to provide a nice contrast to the bright colours on the page. So I'm just painting it with some black Heidi Swap Colour Shine, and I find that this is a really easy way to colour my wood veneer pieces. I think it gives a better coverage and there's less wastage than if I sprayed it on. But you could also use acrylic paint or a paint pen, whatever works for you. So there you can see that it's done, and I'm going to place that in the top right hand corner of the layout to balance out the photo. So now I'm ready to start adding some embellishments. So I've pulled out some things from the Cocoa Vanilla U-Rock collection. And the first thing that I'm going to add is one of the rubber charms on the top right hand corner of the photo. And then I just want to add some wood veneer stars to the layout. And I really love the wood veneer pieces that are in this collection. There's so many fun and cute icons, and I just think they're a nice addition to the collection. And so I also tuck that circular wood veneer embellishment under the left hand side of the photo, but I end up switching that for a chipboard sticker because I want to add a pop of black on the left hand side of the page there. So now I'm just adding a few stickers to the layout, and I'm going to tuck that circular one underneath the top edge of the paper layers. I wanted to bring in a few circular embellishments onto the layout because of those stamps that I added to the background. I like to repeat shapes in this way on my layouts just to tie everything together and to make it look cohesive. So now you can see that I'm just swapping that wood veneer piece for a chipboard sticker. And then I'm also going to add a couple of the chipboard stars to the page as well. And I think the stars are a perfect embellishment to use on a boy or a masculine layout. I love using them. Okay, so I'm happy with how this is looking, and I don't want to add too much more to the page, but I'm just sifting through the die cuts to look for a few small stars, just to add those final finishing touches to the layout. And I pull some out, but I end up only adding a couple of them. So the last thing I'm going to do is add my journaling, and I've typed that up on my typewriter and cut it up into strips, and then I'm going to add 2 of the strips above the photo and 1 below the photo, just to break it up a little bit, and then that will finish off the layout. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I've got some close-ups here at the end for you, and I will be back soon with another video. See you then. Bye.